Well, welcome back. SoftBank is investing big in sports e-commerce company Fanatics. They are committing $1 billion to the online retailer, bringing the company's total valuation to now $4.5 billion. That's up from $3 billion. Joining us right now to talk about this big deal is Michael Rubin. He is the executive chairman of Fanatics and Kinetic CEO. He's also owner of the New Jersey Devils and the Philadelphia 76ers. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Congratulations, Michael.
Thank you.
This is a big deal for SoftBank to be investing in in this company. What are you going to do with this money?
Well, for us, we think we have an enormous opportunity ahead. The company has been a very fast-growing company, and we think today we're around $2 billion in revenue. We think we have an opportunity to be probably a $10 billion company within the licensed sports e-commerce company over the next decade. So we're going to invest aggressively in globalizing the business. We're going to invest in continuing to add infrastructure. So there's a lot of big investments for us to make to really help accelerate the growth of the company.
Where do you see the growth coming from now in the next 3 or 5 years?
Well, first, the company is already, when we started 5 years ago, when we spun out of eBay, the company was about $250 million. It's already gone to $2 billion in the last 5 or 6 years. We think that certainly there's major growth within the licensed sports category. And for us, being that e-commerce is the biggest part of our business, there's always wind behind us. And certainly what's very different about Fanatics is we're really the only large-scale, what we call v-commerce or verticalized e-commerce company that's out there. Companies like Amazon and Alibaba, they're selling other people's products. What Fanatics is about is selling its own products. So we design, develop, sell directly to the consumer our own products.
Like we were talking in the break, the jerseys for the NHL, for example. So you see all of these sports leagues because you sell merchandise for all of them, including it's hockey, baseball, football, basketball, and even NASCAR. Which of those sports is growing the fastest? Which one's in decline? Yeah,
so I'd say for us, we've got major growth in all the sports, and that's one of the real benefits of kind of being an online-driven business. Certainly, the thing that's interesting is you keep hearing about kind of certain places have negative ratings. And from a television rating perspective, we're seeing great increases. So a great example would be the NFL. We're up 15% year-to-date in our NFL sales, but you hear some of the declines in ratings. What it really is consumers are consuming their sport in different ways. It's not always on one television screen. It could be in many different mediums. So for us, we're seeing great increases in all of the sports.
Michael, how much is your valuation driven by data? I mean, it sounds like you have access to tons of data on people and demographics and everything. How much does that play into your business?
Well, I think it's a huge opportunity for us. I think historically, a jersey was bought in a sporting goods retailer and they knew nothing about who was buying it. Today, if you look at one of the biggest values we give to the leagues and teams that we work with, it's the tens of millions or really hundreds of millions of fans. We know everything about them. We know what they bought. We know what they browsed. We tie it to their social preference. So for us, taking that data and giving it back to the leagues and the teams to help grow their business, in addition to growing our business, is very valuable. And I think they'd see it as important as the money and how we best serve the fan.
Very valuable.
Michael, looking at the fact that your business started in eBay and it's all online, what do you think the state of just brick and mortar retail is today? I mean, you've grown this business totally without brick and mortar.
Yeah, so our business today, it's mostly online. It's of our direct-to-consumer business, about 90% online, and then 10% is operating the stores at the stadium. So we have about 40 different stadium stores that we operate. I'd say the brick-and-mortar business, it's going to be here in 10 years, but it's going to look very different. We certainly think, if you look today, just look at a company like Amazon. They're about 5% of North American commerce today. In another decade, they could be a quarter of all North American e-commerce.
Does that include a growth strategy that incorporates brick and mortar? Because the recent...
I don't think brick and mortar is going to be very important to Amazon. I think the Whole Foods deal was very unique and made a lot of sense for them because they needed those capabilities. But in general, I think e-commerce is becoming so important. It's becoming so much bigger. The actual numbers are, in 10 years from now, brick and mortar retail will be smaller. There'll be winners and losers, but brick and mortar retail will be small. Meanwhile, you've got increases in labor. So the business model of brick and mortar retail is definitely difficult. It doesn't mean it's going away, but it's going to look very different.
That's going to have so many implications because if you don't need all of that space, that also impacts real estate.
Right.
That's going to change the structure of economies.
No question. I think you could see 30% less retail locations in a decade from now. I think you're going to see what makes Fanatics so different is that we're highly verticalized. And again, we're really the only kind of large-scale v-commerce or verticalized e-commerce company within e-commerce, I think you're going to see a lot more of that in brick and mortar retail too, because what you can't have, if you're a brick and mortar retailer selling the same merchandise that other people sell, you're going to be killed by Amazon and Alibaba. You need to be different.
And it's using the data that you have on the customers about what they want and creating things from the ground up that you know they will buy.
That's right. A great example of that would be, a few weeks ago, Kyrie Irving gets traded to the Celtics, and in the old days, it would take weeks to get that jersey into the retail store. Today, minutes after that happens, we know all the Celtics fans, all the Kyrie Irving fans, we're completely vertical on the jersey, so we're sitting with hundreds of thousands of blank jerseys in our fulfillment centers, and then we're printing these jerseys in real time. And that's the way we can best serve as a fan. And that's what makes our business so different than a traditional e-commerce company.
And then you push it to the fans. You send me an alert on my phone saying, hey, you want the latest Kyrie Irving jersey.
You're ready for the next Linsanity when it happens.
We are, and that's a giant. We are. If you really think about it, moments in sports are what makes our business. I mean, actually, there's two things that drive the business. It's the holidays, and it's the moments, and it's the wins and losses, and who emerges, and who gets injured. And so this is such a difficult business to do a great job in traditional brick-and-mortar retail because of the complexity of the inventory. Online and being vertical, you can really service the fan in a way they've never been serviced before.
What's your exit strategy? You're going to go public?
Certainly, we're very focused on just building a great company. I mean, we've got great investors. The company's growing very quickly.
And you're on the top list of 100 unicorns.
Yeah, well, we look forward to being one of the top, and not just on the top list. And for us, the most important thing is we think that the model of this kind of new emergence of different e-commerce companies, not that we're selling other people's merchandise, but that we're a verticalized, what we call v-commerce company. That's the next wave within e-commerce, and people are just starting to figure that out. Again, you can't make money competing with Amazon and Alibaba doing what they do. You need to be very different. So we think we have an enormous opportunity ahead of us.
Sounds that way. Michael, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Thank you so much for talking to us today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Big deal there. Michael Rubin joining us there. Still